The Abandoned Asylum. Chapter 1. The Dare. A group of urban explorers, friends drawn to the thrill of the unknown, decide to break into an abandoned psychiatric hospital. For years, the building has stood as a decaying relic of a dark past, its walls hiding secrets long forgotten by the outside world. Rumors about the place suggest horrifying experiments were once conducted there, and many believe the spirits of past patients still linger, waiting for unsuspecting intruders. As they step inside, the heavy wooden doors creak open, revealing a grand yet ruined entrance hall. Dust motes dance in the beams of their flashlights, illuminating peeling wallpaper, shattered glass, and remnants of broken furniture. The air is thick with the scent of mildew and something else, something metallic, like rust or dried blood. A faint draft whispers through the corridor, carrying with it the ghostly echo of something that might have once been a scream. One of them jokes to ease the tension, but their laughter feels hollow, swallowed by the oppressive silence. Then suddenly, the entrance slams shut behind them with a deafening bang. They rush back to the door, but no amount of pulling or pushing will budge it. The realization settles in like ice in their veins. They are trapped inside. As they exchange nervous glances, the dim overhead lights flicker once and die, plunging them into darkness. A shiver runs through the group. The asylum is waking up, and it knows they're here. Chapter 2. Dark Discoveries. As they explore the asylum, their footsteps echo ominously against the cold tile floors. The air is thick with dust and the scent of rot, as if time itself has stood still within these walls. They find eerie remnants of the past. Old medical files strewn across desks, containing cryptic notes about treatments long since outlawed. Rusted restraints dangle from examination chairs, their leather straps cracked and stiff with age. The walls are stained with blood, some dried and faded, others disturbingly fresh. One of them stumbles upon a locked metal cabinet. With a determined yank, it creaks open to reveal vials of unknown substances, brittle X-rays of human skulls, and grainy photographs of patients whose faces are twisted in agony. Their unease deepens when they find a journal belonging to one of the doctors, its final pages abruptly ending in scrawled warnings. "Do not open the door. It's still here." They press forward and uncover a hidden passage behind a rotting bookcase. A staircase descends into the darkness, and with a collective deep breath, they make their way down. The air grows colder with each step, their breath now visible in the dim glow of their flashlights. The passage leads them to a secret wing of the hospital, one that does not appear on any blueprints. The walls here are lined with reinforced glass chambers, some containing broken skeletal remains, others showing disturbing signs of something having escaped. Among the shadows, something stirs. At first, it's just a flicker, a slight movement at the edge of their vision. Then they hear it. A soft, ragged breath, a faint shuffle. The feeling of being watched turns into certainty. They are not alone. Chapter 3. The Dread. The atmosphere within the asylum grows heavier with each passing minute. At first, the disturbances are small, fleeting whispers that seem to slither along the walls, almost too faint to be real. The explorers exchange nervous glances, brushing it off as their minds playing tricks on them. But then the shadows begin to move. Not just the tricks of flickering flashlights, but real, shifting shapes that slither through the darkness, as if watching, waiting. Cold fingers seem to brush against their skin, causing them to shudder, though no one is near. The tension escalates when one of the explorers suddenly vanishes. One moment he is at the back of the group, shining his flashlight into the gloom, and the next, gone. A frantic search ensues, their calls for him swallowed by the oppressive silence. The only response is the distant sound of something scraping against metal, followed by an eerie, guttural chuckle that sends ice through their veins. Then they begin to find messages, scrawled in what looks like dried blood, carved into the peeling walls with desperate shaking hands. "Leave now. It sees you. They never escape." The warnings seem fresh, as if left for them specifically. One of them presses a hand against a message, only to pull away in horror as the crimson letters smear, still wet. They realize the asylum is no longer just an abandoned ruin. It is alive, aware of them, and it is playing with them. Panic grips their hearts as the air turns frigid, their breath misting in the dim glow of their flashlights. The presence is no longer just watching. It is coming for them. Chapter 4: The Haunting Truth. They delve deeper into the asylum's forbidden corridors, their trembling hands brushing against rusted doorknobs and dust-coated files. What begins as an unsettling curiosity quickly morphs into horror as they uncover stacks of decayed patient records. The documents reveal gruesome details of inhumane experiments, patients subjected to torturous procedures under the guise of treatment. Some were locked away in isolation for years. Others underwent crude surgeries without anesthesia. A particular set of files contains grainy black and white photographs of patients, their expressions frozen in agony, their bodies twisted into unnatural forms. A sudden crash echoes through the hall, cutting through their breathless silence. One of them stumbles upon a room sealed shut with heavy iron bars. A plaque above the door reads, "Experimental Ward 4, High-Risk Subjects." Their flashlights illuminate faded tally marks scratched into the walls, a desperate attempt to count the days. Rusted shackles remain bolted to the floor, and the sickening realization dawns on them. Whoever was here had been trapped, abandoned by the outside world. Then, in the furthest cell, they find it. A figure slumped in the shadows, its body unnervingly still. At first, they assume it's just another forgotten corpse, until its chest rises in a shallow, ragged breath. It was one of the asylum's most notorious patients, a subject believed to have perished decades ago. But death had not claimed it, twisted beyond recognition. The being that once was human now carries the marks of decades of suffering, its hollow eyes flickering with something ancient and wrathful. It moves. Panic erupts as the explorers scramble back, but it's too late. The entity stirs from its slumber, its gaze locking onto them with a slow, dreadful understanding. It is neither dead nor alive. It has been waiting, and now it is free. Chapter 5: Escape or Doom. With the entity closing in, the survivors scramble in desperation, their hearts pounding against their ribs. The asylum twists around them, hallways stretching impossibly, doors slamming shut just before they reach them. It is as if the building itself refuses to let them leave. The flickering lights cast eerie shadows that seem to stretch and reach for them, and every breath feels heavy with the weight of unseen eyes watching from the darkness. One by one, they fall. A scream cuts through the silence as one of them is dragged into the shadows, vanishing without a trace. Another turns a corner and is never seen again. The remaining few, now trembling with terror, stumble upon an old blueprint in the doctor's office, an indication of a hidden exit buried beneath the asylum's foundation. It is their last chance. Frantically, they tear through the debris and decay, prying open a rusted metal hatch. The tunnel below is narrow and suffocating, the scent of earth and mildew thick in the air. Crawling through the darkness, they can hear something moving behind them, its breath ragged and unnatural. The sound grows closer, and the last survivors push forward, their lungs burning with exertion. At last they emerge into the cold night air, gasping in relief. The asylum looms behind them, a silent monolith against the sky. But just as they step away, the heavy doors of the building slam shut on their own. The wind carries a whisper, low and insidious, as if the asylum itself is exhaling one final warning. Did they truly escape? Or has something followed them into the world beyond?